very touchy subject for some. Enter at your own risk. That's the best way I can give it to you. Because one thing for sure, two things for certain, we gonna tell it like it is. This upcoming episode will not, and I repeat, will not be opinionated. It will be definitely fact based. If you're a hypersensitive person, this may not be the episode. I'm just gonna be 100 with you. This may not be the episode for you. Not this particular one, but the one Monday. Definitely is gonna be a touchy subject for some. All are welcome, but just keep in mind, you heard it here first. It is going to be a very it's gonna hit like a ton of bricks. Looking forward to seeing you guys. If you're hypersensitive or very emotional, bring your tissues and your cry rag, because it's gonna get interesting.
Freedom, stay the fuck about my way, cause when I get tired of
Oh shit. Give me one more second, man. Just trying to see if more people gonna pop in. Let me spin that mic around that way you guys can hear me. Give me one more second. I'm just waiting to see if there's gonna be some more people that are gonna pop in. Still here though. Bum 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 bum. Yeah, that part.
I ain't here but to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God. You want to know what's real? All right, this is what's real.
When it came to treating her citizens of Indian descent fairly, she failed. She put them on the reservations. When it came to treating
Never even realized that I wasn't on camera. Oops. Um, as of right now, I am muting my phone. That's why I'm looking down, because I'm getting a lot of text messages. If you want to text me in the comment section. Get the hell out of my DM. That part. Seems to me like nobody wants to take the initiative, or nobody wants to open their mouth. It's kind of interesting. Everybody's got something to say on a poll. When it comes down to it, the nitty gritty, nobody has anything to say. Very interesting. Bum, 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 bum. I am gotten quiet because I'm over here. I'm looking for that poll. Ah, here it is. Yes, yes, yes. So the poll was originally posted on the Tell It Like It Is podcast. I'm sorry, on the Tell It Like It Is Facebook channel. So the question that was on there, the poll was, again, mother or father in a single parent or broken home setting, who makes the more impactful parent, or who makes the better parent? I found it interesting. The polls are still open if you want to vote. A special shout out to Chris Pierce and Darnell Boone, because they both shared the poll. Appreciate you guys on that one. Just trying to get it out. More people need to see this. More people need to hear this. More people actually need to care. So there was, 34% of the voters actually said mothers, right? Which is okay. It's understandable. I'm not gonna peel anybody's onion back about that. I found it interesting that out of the people that voted for the mothers, it was predominantly female, which is kind of interesting. And also, it's also important. Okay. When it came down to the fathers, 66% of the voters said fathers. Okay. Out of the fathers, this is where it gets very interesting. Predominantly voted of the predominant votes for the father. Only two, mind you, it's 66%. Only two females actually said the fathers. Let me explain as to why that's important. That's an important, interesting thing. Of the voters that voted for the mothers, you said you didn't vote because the option that you would have picked wasn't there. In the way it was actually worded, there's only two options. So they're I don't know. So you were looking for something to waver in your favor. That's not what I'm doing here. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for honesty. I'm looking for what's up, Pooter? I'm looking for honesty, And I'm also looking for facts, something like I said that's irrefutable. I'm sorry. Based off something that's tangible, statistic, and something that we can see. I'm not looking for anything opinionated. So if you can answer the question as it is, then great. If not, I appreciate you not voting. That's not a problem. What's up, Pooter? How you doing? Both parents are needed. That's not the argument. That's not even debatable. Agreed. Both parents are necessary. The fact of the matter is, in most cases, especially in today's society, most children are raised in broken homes. So I need you to either answer the question or don't answer the question. Lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. So the interesting thing about the difference in the voting, okay? The difference in the voting. Majority of the mother voters were female. In the votes for the fathers, most of them were male. Somewhere along the line, that poses a problem. Somebody's not being honest. And that's where the problem lies. Going back, okay? Going back. Let me touch on this again. And this is why I said somebody's not being honest. Okay. Let me make this plain. This is not a shot at either parent, but it's time to be honest about the situation, because if we're not honest, if we continue lying to ourselves, then nothing is going to change. Certain things, a lot of things will not be addressed. So again, this is why I said somebody's not being honest. If most of the females are voting for the mothers, most of the fathers, not even fathers, most of the dads are voting for the fathers. Okay. There's a high count. A lot of people like to speak on deadbeat fathers. All right. Which is not entirely true. There's actually, I'm not even going to touch on that. Here's the fact. 52% of the states in the United States are mother states. That's a problem in itself. Of the 50 states, there's 26 states in the United States that favor the mother in court for custody over the father. This does not necessarily mean that she's the better parent. Okay. The problem that lies within such biased judgment is the children suffer, and this is the fact. This is where the facts lie. Statistically, okay? The problem that lies within such biased judgment, where the government just automatically awards the child to the mother. The children suffer both physically, emotionally, and developmentally, especially with the boys. Okay. The part that nobody wants to talk about, is in these broken homes, predominantly, where, again, 52%. I'm not making this up. You guys can look this up for yourself. If 52% of the states are mom states and you automatically are awarded the child, emphasis on the word awarded, automatically awarded the child or given the child like it's a competition or something. But mind you, this isn't a competition between the fathers and the mothers. This is a competition that the government has created. This is the thing that people need to look at. Going back to the tallies on the vote, it said that 34% of the people that voted for the mothers, okay, and 66% of the people, 66% of the people voted for the fathers. If 34% of the people voted for the mothers, now mind you, this is just off of my poll, but let's say I was able to do this globally, okay, and had the same amount of numbers, same, all right. But we already know, and like I said, it's statistically that more issues lie with the children that have, mind you, again, we're not saying in united households, we're saying in divided households, that the children come out emotionally damaged, physically damaged, and developmentally damaged under the care of the mothers. Statistically, it has been proven that when the child is raised in, mind you, again, broken home, when the child is raised in the households where it's a single dad, they fare out better. So now it raises the question: if this is statistically true, where we all can see it, government knows it. Now you got a question as to why. Now you have to question as to why the mothers are automatically automatically awarded custody. Why is the mother automatically given the child? If we know that the child is going to come out physically damaged, mentally damaged, developmentally delayed, why would you automatically grant? Now, I'm not saying, because here's the thing, right? You have to understand, and you also have to respect that, and a lot of people do not want to acknowledge this, but there are gender-specific roles. In the beginning of the development of a child, it is more beneficial for the child to be with the mother. In the infancy, and we're not talking about just on the grounds that the child needs to be breastfed or whatever have you, you know what I'm saying? Because for all that, you know what I'm saying, we can supplement that with formula and various other things. So we're not talking along those lines. There's certain things, certain qualities that are in a woman that are not so much in a male. Now, not to say that it can't be something. I had to learn it myself. It's not to say that it's something that we can't learn, but it doesn't come natural. So a lot of your moral standards, your emotional, your emotional support, your manner, your not your demeanor, being loving and compassionate, this, that, and third. This is something that's going to be instilled in you through your mother, your grandmother, this, that, not so much the father. All right. I'm just going to be honest about it. It's not so much the father. I, for one, I struggled with it because I had custody of my son in the very beginning, in the important stages where his mother should have been a part of his life and she was off doing her thing. All right. So it was very, very difficult, but again, determined to take on the challenge and do the best that I could. I did just that. And I'm not, again, like I said, this is not a shot at any mothers, but we have to come to, this is not a shot at the mothers at all. It's just time for us to recognize that like Jamie said, both parents are important. Both parents are needed. certain stages in life, mother needs to step not away, but move back. Lack of a better way of saying it, right? So we are aware of the statistics, right? Well, how could you say that the boys? I mean, I'm sorry. How could you say that the mom is not more impactful than the father? One thing for sure, two things for certain. We give birth to children. Let me rephrase that. We conceive children. The mothers give birth to children. Let me stay on the right path here. The mothers give birth to children. The children do not stay babies forever. She gave birth to this baby. With each passing year, this child grows. Right? I heard this up to the day my mom drew her last breath. And I was in my 40s. You still my baby. I had to correct her a lot. Sure, I will always be your child. I'll always be your baby, but I am not a baby. So with that being said, you got to and allow me to grow, right? In the households, there's a lot of single mothers out here, right? Because there's a lot of mom states. In these broken homes or these single parent homes, again, I'm not saying, Jamie, going back to your comment, both parents are needed in the child's life. 100%, absolutely. But in a divided home or a broken home, single parent setting, that is your house, and it is your responsibility to govern it. Just as well as the father has his own domain, and it is his responsibility to govern it. So if the child lives, and being honest with yourselves, moms, especially in these mom states, when the child lives with the mother, going back to the developmental and the fact of impact, you can tell when the child resides or is predominantly raised with the mother. These children tend to be unruly, disrespectful, not only to the mothers, but any other adult in society, with the exception of the father, if the father is present. Statistically, and I'm gonna play a video. There's this doctor that will break it down. She'll give you numbers actually a little better than what I can explain it. In households where, and I'm a living testament of this. Not to say that the mothers don't do the best that they can. I want that to be made plain. The mothers do the best that they can. But again, mothers, at some point you have to let go, not let go. Yeah, you have to let go. Step back and let the father do his thing. You will find that in these households, and again, like I said, I'm a living testament of it, where the mother is awarded sole custody and rules and controls the whole situation, you will find that these children statistically end up in more trouble, incarcerated, higher death toll in the children, mental development issues, behaviorals, the whole nine. Statistically, when the father is rearing the children, it is compared to or equal, it is equal to or compared to the same outcome as if both parents are residing in the household, as in like a normal nuclear family structure. Again, this is not a shot at the mothers, but again, this leads to other questions. So if this being the case, if this is statistically proven to be true, you got a question as to why. Now I understand pride might be in the way. Oh man, no. Excuse me. And I'm not to say that every household is like that. But I know damn well my mother did the best that she could. She could never raise me to be a man. And I know I got my ass thrashed in the whole nine. In today's society, you guys would call that abuse. But I too, being raised in such a household, am a statistic. Okay. It's not to put the blame on the mother. It's not to put the blame on the mother, because at the end of the day, I didn't have a juvenile record. But I also know, because this is instilled in you, and you're a parent. I don't give a damn if it comes from the mother or the father, but if the parent is doing their job, male or female, they are going to instill in you, the child, the knowledge of right and wrong. So me out there gang banging and being a knucklehead and running the streets, that didn't have anything to do with my mother not teaching me. I definitely knew right from wrong. I'm not stupid. But in the same aspect, there's only but so much. Speaking because I'm a male, there's only so much that a mother can do, especially with the boy. All right. Now, it might be a little different with the girls. You know what I'm saying? You touch them up how you see fit. If necessary, of course, you know. But the question that arises is, if this is statistically proven, putting your pride in your pocket, if this is statistically proven that boys, I'm not boys, I keep saying boys, that children turn out better, that the father, I don't want to say better, that the father makes more of an impact, statistically proven, you've got a question as to why the government says that, hey, give the child to the mother. They very well could say, because again, like I said, understanding development, it actually happens in stages. So in the beginning, awarding the child to the mother up to a certain age makes sense. But then what about later in life? Knowing that the father is the one that prepares the child for the real world. So wouldn't it make more sense to say, okay, well, I'm going to award not sole custody. I'm going to award, or maybe sole custody up to a certain age or whatever. But wouldn't it make more sense to award, rather than sole custody, joint custody? And I understand the system is not perfect. It's flawed 1,000 times over. But we are we not helping it with our divided thought process? And this is the thing that this is what I'm trying to get people to see. Hold on one second, because I okay, so all right. So like here, I'm gonna allow this lady to explain the statistics on it. Like I said, there's a lot of things that you guys can go look up or whatever have you. It's very quiet in here. I see that this very quiet in here. That's what I find very interesting. Like nobody has anything to say. No feedback, no putback, no nothing. It's like crazy. It's blowing my mind here. Like something so important, but nobody, nothing. All right. Well, here. Let her tell it. Yeah.
Single fathers are better at it.
If a man and wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail, but they have the same statistical chance as children raised by just their father. So if we want to keep children, adults, out of prison, mother, father, or just father. We don't want to hear just father, so let's try to keep the families intact. I think that just seems better. Girls with no...
So it's crazy because I don't it's a lot of things that are done wrong in this country, okay, for obvious reasons. I am not a fan of our government at all. There's a lot of things that need to be changed. The whole structure of the government needs to be destroyed and rebuilt anew, as it states, right, in the Constitution. But I'm not Constitution, but the Declaration of Independence. But that's a whole different conversation. In many cultures, okay, and many in African culture, many countries, let me say it that way, many countries in the African culture are very aware of this, okay? They understand the psychological damage that is imposed on the children, to the point, the psychological damage imposed on the children by the mothers, to the point where in many countries, what they do is they come and take, especially the boys, they come and take their sons. The sons are taken from the mothers. Let me clarify what I mean by take, because it's not a kidnap thing. It's not a oh, you'll never see your child again. For those of you who like movies, it's very much in the same likeness of if you've seen the movie Boys in the Hood. Larry Fishburne, his character Fishburne, His character's name was Furious Styles. The mother called him. Their son Trey was getting in a lot of trouble in school, acting out, this, that, and the third. The mother decided, and she was honest with herself. She says, you know what? I've done everything that I can. This is not my department. I'm not a man. I don't know nothing about being a man. So she called the father, which was Furious, and says, hey, look, we need to talk. Okay. So he drove over. They sat outside of her home. They talked in the car. She signed him over. As it's told. Because from that point on, and I think he was like maybe 12, from that point on, for the remainder of the film, all the way to his adulthood, he resided with his father until he went out into his own. It was while he was with his father that he learned life, learned what it meant to be in the real world, learned what it meant to be an employee in the work world, learned what it meant to become a man, the struggle of society in which, in the environment in which you live, and how to overcome it. There are certain privileges. Let's say it that way. Some women are aware of it. Some of them may not be aware of it because it's too close to them. As it said, when something's too close to you, you tend to overlook it or you don't see it. There are certain privileges to being, especially when it comes to dealing with the government and society. There are certain privileges that women receive or even are entitled to that men don't receive. Okay. Real quick, tell you one of my life experiences. While I had my son, at the time he was a carry-on baby. I've had him since he was a few months old. I went up to the program, as it's called, WIC, Woman, Infant, and Child. Now, mind you, I was already on as the co-signer, but at this point I had custody of him, so I needed everything in my name because we didn't live in the same house. We didn't even live in the same city. Okay, we didn't live in the same county, so I needed everything transferred over into my name. So I went up there to WIC to get everything transferred into my name. Right, got my custody papers, the whole nine. So I get to the counter. I asked the lady. I says, yes. She says, may I help you? I said, yeah, I'd like to get everything transferred over from his mother's name into my name. I don't live in the same county as her. We don't reside together. We don't co-reside together. He lives with me. Here's my custody papers. The lady looked at me serious as hell and started laughing. Like she laughed in my face. So I looked at her like, the fuck is so funny, you know? And she gathered herself and she stopped laughing and she says, oh, honey, I'm sorry. You're serious? I said, yeah. She says, baby, we can't help you. I said, what do you mean you can't help me? She says, and I quote, It's woman, infant, and child. It's Wick, not Mick. She turned me away because I was not a female. I gathered my papers, my identification and all that. I walked out. I've never publicly told this story before, but I'm going to tell it now. It was that evening, to give you an idea of how young he was. I don't have breasts, so I am not breastfeeding, if you catch my drift. It was that evening. I says, I remember I drove around town over on the north side, contemplating what I was going to do to feed my child. I took him to his grandmother's house. I asked her, I said, can you watch him for a few moments? I'll be back. Sure. I drove up to the Rite Aid, which no longer exists. I sat in the parking lot in my vehicle, irritated to the core, angry. I jumped out of my vehicle. I walked in the Rite Aid. I walked back there to where the formula was. I'll never forget the little blue can, blue lid can, Infamil. I grabbed 3 of them cans, 3 of the biggest cans that they made at the time. I walked straight to the door and walked out. I recall hearing something. I don't know exactly. It was along the lines of, "Excuse me, sir, you going something to that effect, sir? You have to pay for that, or hey, you." I was broke. I ain't gonna lie. Jumped in my vehicle. I drove to my mother's house. I fed my son. As it said, a man is a protector and a provider. He will find a way. I asked nobody for anything. I figured it out. If that meant that sitting in jail over, yeah, do it again. Kids got to eat. I asked for assistance. I guess you could call it that. I asked for assistance. Indeed, I did. And got laughed at and turned away. That was like the equivalent of spitting in my face. It wasn't for me. I'm not asking for food stamps. I'm not asking you to hey, can I get a couple dollars so I can go to this drive-thru and grab some McDonald's? I'm not asking for myself. I'm asking for a child. In an establishment that is supposed to, an establishment or a foundation that's supposed to be helping children. But because I'm the opposite gender, I got turned away. So at what point do you say, you know what, that doesn't even matter? Absolutely. Going back to what Jamie said. Both parents are needed in the child's life. I ain't gonna dispute that 100%. But reality is we live in in the real world. In the real world, it's not like that. We teach our kids, we teach our kids, our daughters, to be princesses, and you ask them, okay, well, what is your oh, I'm gonna get married and some guy's gonna take care of me, and I'm gonna have this big house on the hill with this picket white fence and have children and live happily. The fuck? That's not reality. For some, it might be. And when I say that, I'm not talking about the suburbs. If you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, you can feed your kids that bullshit. For those of us who are in the working world and one paycheck away from being homeless, poverty level, it's not a reality, man. And they're making sure that we stay divided. They are making sure that these households are broken. When you look at social media, look at the memes. Look at the memes that are posted. All men are blah, 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 this, that, and that. Rants about, I don't need a man. If you ask a woman, and this is off subject, but if you ask a woman or ask a female in today's society, do you need a man? Ask 10 women this. 9 of them are going to say, no, I don't need a man. Do the same with men. Find 10 men and ask them, do you need a woman? Seven to 8 of them are going to say yes. We are being programmed to hate each other. And if we are being programmed to hate each other, the genders male and female, if we're being programmed to hate each other, whether it's planned or oops, a child comes into this world, who's going to suffer for it? I'm not saying that you got to be together, but how can you work as a team in rearing a child when you guys don't even like each other? You don't have to be in love with each other, but you can't even be cordial with this person. Again, as I said, custody of my son. Never asked for a penny for child support, right? He was 12 when I received the first check. Never forget it. It was for $11. 12 years. Now, mind you, I don't care about child support because, like I said, at the end of the day, child support is bullshit. But I got a paper check in the mail. By the time he was 12 years old for $11 and some change. And I joked that I said something to my mom. She said, "You should frame it." But the moment that we got back into court, case wasn't even finalized. And they were sticking their hand in my pocket. Child support is not for the children. Never has been for the children. Proof? If I'm on child support and I die today, what happens? They stop it. That mother will no longer receive child support. Think about that. Child support is a scam. It was created as a means to divide the nuclear structure of the family. Look it up for yourself. Impact. Let me go back to this for a second. The impact in which the father makes versus the mother. The impact that the mother makes is in the beginning stages. Like I said, there's things that a mother can teach a child in the beginning stages, the developmental stages, that the father, it's not even in us. And I want you to think about that. There's certain things that was taught to me by my mother in the beginning. But as I become older and become a man, it's no longer there. Why is it no longer there? If she's the one that raised me. Why is it no longer there? If she's the one that raised me and instilled this in me, why is it that it is no longer there? It's because as we get older, in part, one part is because we come into our own. The other reason why it's no longer there is because as we start to get older, there's certain things that will be said to us, male and female. There's certain things that will be said to us, done to us by that same person that instilled these values that are contradictory. And so we lose that. If you're the loving, nurturing, compassionate person, and this is what you're instilling in me as a child, but then as I start to become as I start to pre-adolescence, teenage years, late adolescence, the same person that was loving, nurturing, and passionate has now become the dictator and the disciplinarian. I don't see you in that light anymore. It becomes contradictive. You can't be both. I'm a heterosexual male. I like to use extremes because it makes it easier to see. I'm a heterosexual male. The moment you see me out, whether in public or just in private, whatever, the moment you see me kiss another man in the mouth, you can no longer ever see me as a heterosexual male. You can no longer ever see me in that light. So everything that I say along that line from that point on is contradictive. It's suspect. It's questionable. So not only with boys, but any child. If you're, oh, come here, my baby. Da, 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 da. This is the impact that you instill from itty bitty to now. I'm growing up. I got a little mouth on me. You got to rear me. So as I'm starting to get older, punishments become more stern, right? So you were the person that was, I feel, come here, baby. It's gonna be okay. To the point now you cracking me across my motherfucking head and shit and stand in this fucking corner and hold this book up, hold these two. I don't see you like that no more. And so we lose that. It becomes contradictive. And so subconsciously, there's a lot of mothers that actually understand this. And so what do? They don't chastise and rear their children. They're not disciplinarians. And so what happens? This child's walking all over you, disrespecting you at every given opportunity that they can. And then the statistics reflect this. More social workers and caseworkers go in homes of single mothers than they do of single fathers. When they go in the house, what do they see? Kid hanging from the ceiling fan, marking all on the wall. You tell the kid, come here, sit down. Kid telling you, fuck you, bitch. I ain't. Holes all in your walls and shit. Shit gets hot. Then you want to call the father. You did your part. It's your time to step aside, not get out the picture. It's time for you to step aside and let the father do his job. Put your pride in your pocket. You ever notice how when a child is born, father cuts the umbilical cord, and they hand the baby to the mother, or they clean the baby off, whatever, they hand the baby to the mother, or they might even hand him to the father, and he's over here all don't like. He might have 3-4 kids and still ain't quite got it down right. He over there holding like and it's not because he don't love the child. They're too fragile. They feel like they're gonna break them. I'm not worried about dropping them. I got big hands. I got strong hands. In fact, that's part of the problem. I got strong hands. I'm afraid that I'm gonna hurt this child. Accidentally. Inadvertently. Pay attention to the fathers as the child gets progressively older. Well, they're no longer as fragile. Now the kid, now the father down there on the floor, rolling around, rustling, tussling with him, tossing them all up in the air. Like, have y'all ever thought about that? Have y'all ever looked at that? Like, damn, where the fuck was all that when it? Becoming a parent for men gets easier as they get older. Because we relate to adult issues and adult situations. We prepare the children for the real world, or let me clean that up. For the outside world. All the internal comes from the woman. It comes from the moms. Internal in-house comes from the woman. And keep in mind, I do want to clarify this too, because I know nobody's actually saying anything, but I'm pretty sure there's some minds that are like, well, he's never around, or he's not in the picture, or let the record reflect that I'm speaking of those. Excuse me. If you got a kid's father or a baby daddy, or how the hell you want to call the shit at this point. If you got a kid's father who, and you have to be honest with yourself, if he's riffing about seeing his kids and child support, and you fussing that you can't see your kid because he behind on child support, those are the ones that I'm talking about. Because truth be told, he wants to be there. Now, whether or not you're gonna let him be there over some government money, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're wrong for that shit. But those are the ones I'm talking about. I'm not talking about if he's deceased, or I'm not talking about if he truly is AWOL. There's because there's a story. There's some statistics behind that shit too, but that's for a different show. If this one here is contacting, and y'all just arguing over when he can and he can't see you on some dictator type shit, them are the ones I'm talking about. If you ain't seen, if your child is 10 years old and you ain't seen him since the child was 3 months, I'm not talking about that guy. That's a whole different topic. I'm gonna say it like this: if that's your situation, quit wasting your time. Just do what you're supposed to do as a parent and raise your child. But if he the one that's sitting up arguing with you about when he can see that, that's the guy I'm talking about. Or if he ain't arguing with you, because all of us ain't gonna argue. If he ain't arguing, but he cherished every moment he get. That's what I'm talking about. Again, like I said, this is not a session of mother bashing, because that's not the point of what this is about. What this is about is the importance and the impact that the fathers make if given the chance. Ladies, be mindful of what's going on. Quit allowing yourselves to be used by the government, because that's truly what's going on. If you laid down with this man and conceived the child, what does the honorable judge so and so got to do with the fuck? What does he got to do with you and your child and the father? Besides nothing. Y'all figure that out. Y'all made the child together. You didn't need the judge. Okay, well, I want y'all to get that. Nah. Recognize the impact that these fathers have. Everything that I said, and I'm not showing all the videos. I'll put them on the page. Recognize the impact of the fathers. Recognize the importance of the fathers. We're not saying that the mothers aren't important. Let me rephrase that. I'm not saying that the mothers aren't important. What I need y'all to do is start recognizing how important the fathers are and the impact that they make when given the opportunity. Do the research for yourself. Look up the statistics for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. You get mad at the father, and then the first thing you want to do is rip the kids away. $50 states. 50 states. $26 of them. 26 of the mom states. I mean, think about that. $26 of them mom states. How do you have if you conceive this child together, how do you have a mom state? It doesn't even make any sense. Mm-hmm. 50 states, 26 of the mom states, but you conceive the child with the male. And I like I said, nobody's saying anything, but I can damn near hear the thoughts. Well, what do you expect that he should sign over his rights? Let me address that. All right. Because that seems to be the answer that most women like to flail out their mouth. Well, if you don't want to be there, sign over your rights. Ladies, I want you to stop and think for a second, realistically, like seriously, I want you to think. If it is a mom state where you are automatically awarded sole custody from birth to the point where the man has to go to the court to petition for his rights, what rights is he signing over? It's already being told to him, but you guys kind of seem to miss it. The father never has any rights to the child in a mom state. He has no rights. So what is it that you want him to sign over? I mean, think about that. That's the first thing that a woman says. Oh, well, if you're not going to help, if you're not going to be there, then sign over what? If it is a mom state, custody is already from birth. As soon as his little head crown out the poop, and you're already awarded to the point where when they clean the child off, wrap him up, swaddle him up, bring him back in that little clean, that clear bassinet thing. What does this say on? What is that little sticker on the side of the sticker on the side of that little clear bassinet thing say? It says baby, whatever the mother's name is, or baby, whatever the mother's last name is. So what rights do you really want this man to sign over? Because he has no rights. Think about that. Then you get mad at him when he's not doing anything. You want him to take care of something that ain't his? In a mom state, truth be told, if you want to be technical, the father is the stepfather. He has no legal rights, no legal say-so whatsoever to the child that was just born to the both of you. And then you get pissed off in a tizzy in a fit of rage and say, "Oh, fuck you, sign over your rights." And he's like, "I ain't signing over nothing." What he's telling you is he recognizes and acknowledges that there's nothing for me to sign over. I don't have rights to him. When the child is born in the mother's state, this man has to go to court and petition for his rights and visitation of the child that you both conceived and was just born. Like I said, there's privileges. I told you earlier about the story about what happened to me. It's not called Mick. It's called Wick. Because I have a penis and 2 testicles, my child had to suffer. Well, I ain't gonna say had to suffer, but my child was denied. Because, like I said, I told you what I did. Oh well, you could have asked a friend or a family member. Or listen, that's my child. Ain't nobody entitled to help me with nothing. And as a man, I'm gonna figure it out. As these youngsters like to say, now I get it out the mud. I asked for assistance and got laughed at and turned away. It was a hard pill for me to swallow, I tell you what, but on that day, it opened up my eyes to a lot of things. A lot of things. Like I said, it's a hard pill to swallow. Hard pill to swallow. But there's plenty much more that I want to talk about. Maybe I'll do a part 2. Like I said, there's plenty more videos that I could have showed. I'm up to four viewers that I can see. Everybody's quiet. It's cool, fine, Danny, whatever. The message has been delivered. Like I said, don't take my word for it, though. Start researching things for yourself. Start looking at things. You know what I'm saying? Broaden your horizons. Don't just that status quo shit. Be a leader, not a follower, man. Closing statements, man. I just want to say this much, man. I appreciate you guys. Some like me, some don't like me. I don't give a damn about none of that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to broaden horizons, open up eyes, and bring the truth. Like I said, I'm not shooting shots at the moms. The moms are important too. Recognize the impact that the fathers have and allow them the opportunity to be impactful. Put your pride in your pocket. Let that man raise his sons. Let that man help by stepping not out of the picture, but move aside. Be mindful of what you say to this child in the absence of the father. Everybody's got eyes. Kids will see it for themselves. You ain't got to speak ill about him. If he's doing something foul, kid will see it. And for those of the fathers who actually have custody, been in my shoes, I say the same thing. I don't give a damn how ratchet the mother was. Drugs, prostitution, just like the kick it and party, whatever it may be, man. If the questions start coming answer them age appropriately and honest. But with that being said, other than that, don't ever speak on that mother. Not your place. Not your place. Because if they're not asking, you're implanting. I want you to think about that. And it goes both ways, mothers. If the questions are not being asked, shut your mouth. Let them formulate their own opinions on what they see or what they don't see. For those of you who have the privilege of, well, mom, why my dad? Da, 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 da. 1 second. For those who have this privilege, you get that father on the phone. Your child want to talk to you. That's not your place. On that note, reach one, teach one. I'm out.
Maniac, schizophrenic flow, Bishop, Melania. I goes hard. You niggas These bitches hate me, but they all hoe. Fuck a nigga bolo.